Veteran Salute is sponsored by the Devon James Injury Lawyers.
An agonizing goodbye for a U.S. soldier. Angie Galt had to leave her 5-month-old daughter during a deployment to Operation Desert Stor.
Jason Lamb introduces us to the former U.S. Navy combat nurse on this week's Veteran Salute. Angie Galt grew up in Pennsylvania. Her father is a Korean War-era U.S. Navy veteran, and her brother also served in the Navy. So Angie knew what she was meant to do when she enlisted at the age of 18.
The 3 stripes show that I was a commander, and these are a few of the medals that I earned.
Galt's decorated naval career began when she enlisted as a seaman recruit in 1975.
I liked adventure, and I was graduating from high school. I was ready for an adventure, and I came from a patriotic family, so I was ready to begin the Navy adventure.
Which began with a flight to boot camp in Orlando, her very first flight.
Boot camp, as my dad said, you're glad you did it, but you wouldn't want to do it again.
Galt's family was there on her final day of boot camp.
And on graduation day, we had earned the right to march in our uniform, the uniform of the greatest Navy of the world, behind our flag. That was one of the proudest moments I had.
After completing corpsman school, Galt was sent overseas.
I was one of the lucky ones. My first set of orders were to Rota, Spain, and I was stationed in Rota, Spain for 2 years.
After 2 years in Spain, Galt returned to the States and to Camp Lejeune to complete her tour.
So I applied for the GI Bill and got accepted to the university in my home state of Pennsylvania. And during those 4 years of college, we were very fortunate that our college had a club for veterans. And that's where I met my husband the very first day of college, and he also was a veteran.
Galt graduated with a 4-year degree and became a commissioned officer and a nurse corps officer. She got married and gave birth to a baby girl.
And the news on the day of her birth was Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait. And 5 months later, I was deployed to Desert Storm. I had to leave my newborn baby in the hands of my husband, who did a great job. This is a picture of my daughter, Anna. She's an officer in the Air Force.
Galt, now a combat nurse, was off to a fleet hospital in the desert of Saudi Arabia.
And this was the first time really where mothers went to war, where fathers had daughters in the war. And that was one of the hardest things for my dad, was to say goodbye to me.
Her deployment lasted 5 months. Then in 1991, she returned to a hero's welcome in Tennessee.
And when I came home, I had a welcome home. I made the front page of the paper.
She continued to serve in the reserves until she decided to end her naval career after 32 years.
A commander is considered a senior officer in the Navy.
Galt and her family moved to Wichita 2 years ago, and they immediately got involved with American Legion Post 4.
We joined Legion 4, and that's been taking up a lot of my time. Our Post 4 is involved in so many worthwhile activities.
Galt says she's proud of her service to our country.
I had the opportunity to serve in the best military, in the best country. It made me proud. I'm proud to say I'm a veteran, and everybody knows I'm a veteran because I tell everybody.
Galt says she and her husband, Bob, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, have found Wichita to be a very patriotic city. The Galts also heavily support the Kansas Honor Flight program, which is how I met them. Here for you, Jason Lamb, KSN News 3.
On behalf of Devon James Injury Lawyers, we're honored to recognize this week's veteran, Angie Galt, who's a commander and served our country in the United States Navy. Thank you so much for your service.
It was an honor to serve, and I would like to donate this check to our American Legion Post 4.
Fantastic.
Go Navy!
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the Devon James Injury Lawyers.